Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hollyoaks Weekly Roundup. Today's Hollyoaks is going to be discussing the episodes from the 20th to the 22nd. This isn't really going to be a big week recap because ultimately there's not much that's really worth talking about in my opinion. Might be quite bold, but simply saying, kind of similar to Coronation Street last week. This week of Hollyoaks was nothing. I think Hollyoaks was absolutely nothing to write home about. The main thing is Mercedes and her battle with her illness. And you have Grace Black returning to the Grace Black of old. We have an exit on the cards, but ultimately, I don't even know, what to talk about in this episode. So I guess I'll start with the Grace Black stuff. So Grace catches wind that Rex is still involved in some dodgy business. He sees him with Rex, or he sees him with Jacob, and he's threatening him, and the police are on board, and then Grace needs to know the situation. She wants to handle it, but Freddy spots it, and as a result gets Jacob arrested by D.I. Banks. Now, D.I. Banks is a character we'll get onto later. But we know that Rex has a big past. He was helping Jacob and I don't remember what her mum. I don't remember. Kat. I think it's Kat. The mum's name, or at least possibly the mum. I don't know. But he was keeping him in Newcastle in a safe house away from whoever the crime boss is. But Grace takes control, Jacob gets arrested, and in the end he's released on no charge because they don't believe he was the one who shot Freddy. And it's quickly realized that Rex is like, yo, Grace, I want to get out of this business, man. I want to get out of this business. But after Grace hears a conversation between Freddy and Robbie, she realizes that, wow, I'm not the woman Freddy wants. You know, Freddy wants danger. Freddy wants excitement. So Grace kind of retakes her throne, realizing that Freddy's only interested in her because he feels pity. She then decides to transform into who she used to be, that being Fraser Black's daughter, the heiress to a criminal empire, Grace Black. You know, with some extra, because she's been on the straight and narrow for a while now. After Curtis was born, after Trevor, she kind of started to go, is it really worth being a criminal anymore? I want to provide a better time for my family. But she kind of back to black by Amy Winehouse plays as she walks in with a cane and hair how she used to have it, and just very kind of loud, bold entrance. And then she's tells Rex yo, we're not just look, you can't leave because we're taking this business over. And she takes it over. But this is where it gets to the muddy bit, because they're still trying to get Steve and Rex have a conversation where Steve apologizes to Rex and says, look, I shouldn't have used you like that. I was clearly in a bad place. You know, I do regret it. But Rex has still been engaging in what seems to be human trafficking. I get that he is a grunt in the operation, but then he does a little happy dance knowing that he's just got Dylan hooked on spice. And well, maybe not hooked necessarily, but he's been a gateway. And then he does a little happy dance, and we're supposed to be happy for you. You're engaged in horrific criminal activities. Don't care if you're sympathetic. And therefore, Grace takes over and says, I'll be taking over this. And who is in the car? It's D.I. Banks. D.I. Banks, the Scottish detective inspector. honestly, I understand that D.I. Banks is probably much cheaper than Dominic Power was, but you decided the big crime boss was going to be Robbie, but now it's just D.I. Banks. And I thought they were going to do something with the character, considering they mentioned him as a potential love interest for Diane, which I didn't do a video on because it's not news. But I knew that something bigger was going to go down, and maybe, like, if we were going to see the boss, I thought there was a high chance it could have been Banks. So, now, like, but the issue with having big criminals is you need to toe the line. Because if you want these characters to be rooted for, you can't have them do heinous crimes. We've all got a moral compass. We can't all enjoy Grace if she's engaging in human trafficking, for Christ's sake. Like, I look forward to seeing Grace Black once again being the Grace Black she was introduced as and the character she was supposed to be. I like that move, but it gets into muddy waters when she starts doing horrific criminal stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, I don't know how to feel about all of it. Rex doing his little happy dance because Steve loved him. Yeah, great, mate. Like, you've still been engaged in human trafficking, for crying out loud. But yeah, that's the Grace Black and Rex stuff. Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about Prince and his one-dimensional ass. So, he and Liberty are both upset about Dilly leaving, because it's like, oh, you know, where she would always have a phone is Dilly. She was always glued to that thing. So it's like, where's Dilly? But Jeremy decides, well, bloody hell, let's just plant a rosa called Prince. And let's just handle this business. Because he says, I'm not going to stop till I find out where Dilly is. And so Jeremy decides that he is a risk to Sienna's happiness. Just like, okay. So Jeremy, using Dilly's phone, goes ahead to set up a meeting with Prince in the allotment shed, where he's going to murder him. He's going to murder him. But Sienna, having more of a conscience in a way, decides, I will sort this problem for you, Jeremy. He's not gonna, well, she doesn't say, but he's not gonna die, but I'll do something. That's pretty unforgivable. So Sienna meets him in the shed, unrobes, and says, we both needed this, Prince. And Sienna, like a good little sister, sleeps with her dead ex, not really sister, but sister's boyfriend. And she shags him so hard he forgets the name Dilly. What is going on? What is going on here? Why is this the angle? What are you doing, guys? Because it works. The second he sleeps with Sienna, it's like, Dilly who? It's like, fucking Dilly, the one you were claiming to be in love with. Oh, what you doing, Hollyoaks, man? It's like my complaint last week. My complaint last week was, look, you've got this really beautiful peach tree that's finally showing fruit. I don't know tree. I don't know fruit trees, let's be honest. It's finally bearing fruit, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's like it's so beautiful that people gather around it. It's beautiful. But then it's like, if you take that fucking peach tree, this beautiful peach tree, and you decide to just start potting random shit around it, it's like, what are you doing? Just enjoy the peach tree, man. Don't fucking mess it up. And that's kind of been Hollyoaks lately, where it's like, Frankie and JJ, fantastic. Oh, and Jeremy's a serial killer now. Yay. Great. So, yeah, Sienna sleeps with Prince so hard that he forgets about Dilly. Zoe is angry anyways because Prince is being a terrible deadbeat dad. And Zoe's mentioned how maybe Sharon, her mum, has said, hey, come to Dubai with me. So she goes to Dubai, leaving with Theo, and that's Zoe Anderson's time on the show over. Kind of a weird one, honestly, because she was introduced. When was she introduced? What, Garcia Brown? She was introduced in February 2022, left January 2025. And she was a character who I was kind of surprised made it through the time jump. But I mean, she had, what, like 232 appearances, her relationship with Hunter and Prince and Sam. She was the detective sergeant. She had Pearl. She had, yeah, like, she had a nice little family unit. But after the time jump, she just kind of became the person who Prince had a child with, and he was locked into because he had a child with her. And she thought she loved him, and she thought she liked him, but she just wanted someone to take care of her kid with her. And it felt like a marriage tied by the kid rather than an engagement of love. And that's another exit. It's the third exit it's a third exit this year. Because I mean, I guess to an extent we have Nana McQueen, but we had Ryan Mulvey. JJ left. Dilly's left as well. So it's kind of nutty how we only actually have like around 33 different. We only have about 33 different characters on the show right now, and we're cutting more. You know, we had Dilly leave, we had JJ leave, now we have Zoe leaving. Is Hollyoaks still under the cosh? Like, is there really gonna be more than the expected 20 cast members leaving? It's just in a different batch. It's just a strange one, really, because it felt like they had an idea of where they were going for the time jump. They had an idea of where they were going, who was leaving, who was staying, and where everything was going to go. So they had their idea. And then they did the time jump, and then most of their main storylines happened. But they tried to kind of do the separate thing, like, oh, you know, hey, Rex and Steve, they're going to happen, or they're not going to happen. Hey, Jeremy's nothing like Patrick. Oh, actually, Jeremy's much worse than Patrick, and he's going to start killing people off. So, okay. And, you know, with them saying that Jeremy is going to be, he's going to make a great interview snippet as well. Jeremy Blake is going to make Silas Blissett look like Tom Cunningham. Which, to me, obviously, we know that there's going to be a lot of off-screen deaths to crank up the total, just like there was, like, 6 extra with Silas that were just added. And Silas had around, I think he had 18 kills, or about 20 kills. So, it's going to be interesting to see if they take this approach. Like, I could see Prince could easily die at some point. And it's just a method of how to get rid of characters you don't deem fit for the show anymore. And it would be hard to do because ultimately you've gotten rid of a lot of cast already. So how much do you really need or want? It's just a strange point in time. Like, is the cast cull not over? Are we on cast cull watch? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, is it gonna get worse again? The character's gonna leave. Who knows? Honestly, who knows? I don't really. Yeah, but like, I suppose finally, I know I've just rambled for the last 10 seconds, but yeah, it's just kind of like, is Hollyoaks continuing to crumble? Are there more cuts that we don't know about? Or is it just a part of the show where naturally characters leave and contracts come up and people leave the show and quit or be axed, etc., etc.? Like, yeah, so be interesting to see if a bunch of the more nothing characters get killed off. Like, I could easily see D.I. Banks getting killed off by Jeremy. I could easily see Diane getting killed off by Jeremy. Like, there's a lot of characters who might just be killed off, kind of in like the Breeder McQueen effect or the Silas effect. Either or, honestly. But yeah, I don't really know how to feel about the Sienna stuff. I love Sienna. Sienna is probably tied with Stee as two of my favorite Hollyoaks characters of all time, and by two of my favorite, I mean like top 3. I don't know who else I put in that category, but it's just like you are kind of enabling, but you're at odds with your now killer dad, who is willing to kill anybody who threatens your happiness. Which, Jesus. But, oh yeah, and if I had to guess what Dodger's aspect is, it feels like Dodger and Donnie are going to take down D.I. Banks, as he is a criminal boss and engaging in dodgy practices as a detective inspector, so, yeah. But, yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. But, as for Zoe Anderson, interesting character. Honestly, she was at her best when she was just friends with Verity. I kind of enjoyed her relationship with Hunter, but ultimately after the time jump, nothing was really given to her, and it's just kind of a tale as old as time with Hollyoaks, where at the end of the day sometimes the writers just don't have anything for you. So it's a shame. She was a good actress and I liked her family unit. It's sad that Pearl is once again put out on her own, essentially. But she wasn't killed off, at least. So, yeah. There we are. That's that stuff. Onwards to the next topic. And probably the final topic of this Hollyoaks video. Probably just the... I suppose afterwards I'll talk about the Abe stuff as well. So, just make a quick note of that. Alright, so let's talk about the Mercedes stuff first and foremost. The Mercedes in episode 2 had an infection, and in episode 3 she's been seeing like little feathers, which I believe is to her a sign from baby Gabriel, who she lost. And just you know, you can tell that she's on the way out. And even Myra's like, no, you got to fight Mercedes. But even at the end, she's just kind of like, if you have to go, you have to go. Like, but she talks with Cleo, and Cleo tries to get her through it. It's really important. And Cleo wants to tell the police about Abe. But just generally some really emotional scenes where you can tell Mercedes is on the way out, which is sad to see. But like, I don't know. I can't see a world where Hollyoaks is without Mercedes. I know that, yes, it's heading towards... People say it's, what, the 30th anniversary this year? And it would be a really big, impactful death for the 30th. But Hollyoaks is nothing without Mercedes McQueen at this point. And I was a reluctant Mercedes fan. I never really liked her that much. But at this point, you have to acknowledge that Mercedes is probably the most legendary character on Hollyoaks at this stage. You know, and then you do have like Tony, you have Darren and Nancy, all of whom are legends of the show. And then you have like Sienna and Stee. Like, these characters are legends of the show, but Mercedes has been a driving force of the show for years. And the actress is phenomenal. Jennifer Metcalf is tremendous. So it's always a strange one. But, you know, people do tell the story how her dad did pass away after a battle of cancer. So she wanted it to be as honest and as true to form as they expected, or as they had experienced. But yeah, just really poignant scenes where she thinks she's gonna die, and obviously, I don't necessarily think she will die. I don't think she dies. It's Mercedes. If Mercedes dies, the show's done. Let's be honest. Not that it needs Mercedes, because she could easily take a break for a while, but as a very important figure, a lot of people would stop watching if she were to leave. But yeah, it's all about her kind of realizing she's struggling, she's got an infection, she might die. She's probably not going to die, because they wouldn't. It would have to be the actress saying, "Look, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back." But she seems to love the show just as much as we all do. So yeah, that is the Mercedes stuff. I know I didn't talk too much about it, but as I said before, this week was kind of a bit ass. Really wasn't anything particularly interesting in it. So what could I say? Excuse me. Oh, well, I accidentally unpaused the recording. Ah, well, that's all. And finally, let's talk about the news that Abe Fielding is going to be killed off. It's one thing that people struggle to deal with when an abuser's exit is handled in soap, because for the most part, you have to both tread the line where you want to give all the victims justice, but at the same time, a lot of cases in real life, the victim never gets justice for the abuse, so therefore you're balancing. It's a not realistic show in a sense. You want it to have the comeuppance that they deserve, because sometimes life fails you, and it can be very hard to convict abuse and sexual assault. And you also kind of struggle to give him a meaning, or give them a meaningful exit. Do you have them go to prison? Do you have them die? And if this were just a open and shut case of abuse, you would hope he would go to prison and they would have all the control stripped away from him, and it would be really important. But in Abe Fielding's case, he has had multiple sexual assault. Like, he's done that to at least 3 women. He has kidnapped Cleo for a year and has coercively controlled and domestically abused all of the women he has been with. And it seems like they're teasing the idea of having Marie leave for a bit, and then suddenly, is she dead? No, she's not. But yeah, it was then announced in an article, I believe in the Metro, by Stephen Patson. It says, Hollyoaks confirms the end of Abe as abuser is set to pay. The net closed in on Abe Fielding, Tyler Conti, in the Hollyoaks next week, as he's hauled in by police for more questioning after another accusation is made. The villainous character, as we know, coercively controlled and abused Cleo McQueen for months before taking him prisoner in his flat for over a year. While holding Cleo captive, he started a relationship with Perry Lomax, who he similarly gaslit and manipulated. Cleo meanwhile staged an escape, but before she could inform her loved ones about the torment she's after Abe's hands, she was knocked down by a car and put in an medically induced coma. Abe covered his tracks and subsequently married Perry, and in upsetting scenes later, he assaulted Perry. Perry reported Abe to the police, but he was released pending further investigation. Cleo meanwhile regained consciousness at the hospital and told everything about the hell she suffered at Abe's hands. Upcoming scenes will see Abe arrested once again, this time for kidnap, as Donnie takes him in for questioning. Abe twists the narrative, claiming he's the victim of Cleo, who made him protect her while she hid after the death of Suzanne Ashworth. Donnie later shows Cleo in an intimate video that Abe turned over to the police. Perry, Leela, and Joel search online to see if Abe has posted the video on any sites. To their horror, they discover not only that one recording, but one of Perry too. As Perry and Joel attempt to process this, Leela takes a closer look at the website, and she's left horrified when she finds a thumbnail of herself in the woods. Joel informs Cleo about the videos. Cleo, however, feels humiliated and doesn't want to go to the police with them. Joel encourages her to do so, and D.I. Banks subsequently informs that the entire website has disappeared. In the wake of the latest developments, Lily goes to see Mercedes McQueen, and seeing just how much pain he has inflicted, Mercy ultimately decides that they must kill Abe. But is this how the Abe story comes to an end? Will the abuser die? So, ultimately, it could just be speculation. It could just be possible speculation. Maybe he will go to prison for his action. Maybe he will get the comeuppance that he deserves. The justice that all the victims deserve. I am not sure. Honestly, it's Hollyoaks. I won't be surprised if they do a whodunit. You know? Not that I want a whodunit. I think it's time to stop doing whodunits, everyone. I think we need a long, hard break from whodunits. It's just... I'm sick of them. I am sick of them. They've been overused in the last couple of years to absolute death. Everybody loves a whodunit. Nobody loves the post-whodunit clarity where you quickly realise, oh, it was really exciting seeing who did it, but now I have to wait like 6 months to see who actually did it. Great. You know, like it's not a patience thing. I don't think it's a patience thing, but it's just usually the aftermath is just not that great. You know, usually it's just people in damage control, which is fair enough and makes sense. But it's just like, it's just poking the finger at people like, oh, you're being a bit sketchy, aren't you? Ah, yes, I am being sketchy on the night I did do drugs. I am sorry. I did not mean to do that. I will never do it again. I'm sorry. Okay. Rolled out of contention, then they actually do it anyway. Sick of whodunits right now. But, you know, and I suppose the question comes to, is it a necessary punishment for Abe? Abe's done so much horrific stuff that death is, he cannot be truly... Feels hard to believe he would be truly punished for his actions because he's done so much despicable things. So I don't mind if Abe Fielding is killed off. It would be a very Hollyoaks thing to do. Maybe like the Luke Browning type deal where her, Lindsay, and Cindy all played a part in Luke Browning's death, and they all tried to cover it up. So, yeah. There we are. That's all of the Abe Fielding possibly going to die stuff. Now let's get to the lovely little outro of the video. So hold your horses. So yeah, all in all, for a week of Hollyoaks, I thought this one was really mid. I didn't really think it was a particularly interesting one. I don't think many of the developments were really worthwhile. A lot of the muddied narratives that they're trying to form, I don't really vibe with. It's like, Steve and Rex are gonna get together, aren't they? Love's young dream. Rex is human trafficking. Oh, but he's doing a really happy dance, guys. Look at how cute he is. He has gotten a kid hooked on. Well, he's gotten a kid. He's allowed a kid to get a gateway drug. I don't know about that. I like Grace Black returning to who she once was. I think that's a necessary part. I don't know why that aspect of the character was dropped. It feels stupid to me that they would have gotten rid of that aspect of Grace Black, who is, you know, she's an heiress of a criminal empire. Like, why would you ever not do this? The Jeremy, Sienna, and Hunter or Prince. I keep fucking up the names. Oh, yeah, just Prince, just being an idiot. And Sienna sleeping with him so hard that he will never think the name Dilly again. Just a lot of dodgy stuff. The Mercedes stuff is really good, but not much I can really add to it because it is just very important and very, good stuff. So, full credit. But yeah, hopefully we get a better week next week. But with a lot of the decisions they've made and the directions they're going, we really do need a good storyline announced, because with the absence of the Frankie and JJ stuff, we now need some bigger storylines to take their place and really ramp up to make Hollyoaks once again the important soap that it is. So, yeah, we're at a bit of a transitional period, right? Some characters are leaving. We are still getting rid of the dead weight as such. So time will tell where they go with it. But it wasn't a great week of Hollyoaks, but at least it was only an hour, I guess. Is it their fault? I don't know. But a couple more weeks like this, and a lot of people are going to be switching up. I know it is the lull. It is the lull after Christmas, where everybody in January is miserable and nobody wants to do anything. I even quit the gym membership, for Christ's sake. Like, nobody wants to do anything in January. But you still need to be putting up a competitive show, because you do have other soaps that will take away the attention from the others. But yeah, there we are. Tell me what you thought about this week of Hollyoaks. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.